We have four values to our business, and one of those is overt communication.
Well, how you're spending your energy is going to be locked inside of your calendar. And if I don't see meetings with different people in your organization at different levels, that tells me you're not truly engaged with your team and you're not asking the right questions to the right people frequently enough. Popping into department head meetings, you should be able to pop in and everything and everybody should keep talking. If soon as you walk in, everything stops, that's a signal that they don't have psychological safety, that they're not used to seeing you. They're wondering what happened. Are they in trouble because now you're here? And so those are things you need to do, but it's also a signal if you got it and you're going right.
Welcome to Outsource to Profits. I have a fantastic guest. Shelly, do you mind introducing who you are, your company, and how you serve the world?
Excellent. Glad to be here. My name is Shelly Smith. I'm the owner of Premier Rapport. It's a wide range focus on all things workplace culture. And my goal and my impact is to help owners and leaders really stay focused on what matters. And it's the people and the integration who actually drive the top line sales and bottom line profit. So I live in the people space of all things work related.
Well, I'm a guy who lives in the people space because I live in the headcount space. And because of that, I have a team of 3 in HR, and I had no idea how much of my time would be spent in talent acquisition, talent retention, talent happiness. I have weekly meetings with my HR department because all of the intellectual property in my business walks on 2 legs. And I'll tell a story about how you set as a founder. I'm a believer that the culture is set maybe from $0 to $10 million. Like, it is from the actions and activities of the founder. How you show up every day. Do you show up on time to meetings? We have 4 value creators in our business. So we have 4 values to our business. And one of those is overt communication. Every day, customers are communicated with at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. And it is like, I've never tried to smash things into the heads of our team more than that. But outside of that, one is just in and around like compassion and helping your fellow man. We had an employee that came to us that wanted to buy their first home. So our delivery operations center is in Dhaka, Bangladesh. And we came to the consensus that we actually gave him the down payment to be able to own that home. What we didn't realize is how that spread throughout the organization. We have a team of almost 70. And what that did to the morale of the business, like, people realized these perks, benefits, and sweeteners we were willing to give to teammates, that we had their back, whether it was personal or business. So with that, Shelly, what is your unique point of view when it comes to the creation, like the seedlings of culture? If you think about it, nature versus nurture, do you believe that it starts top down, founder drives it into the business, or is it a bottom up approach? It's the organic, like, rebels and A players that actually set the culture?
It's both. It starts with the founder, and it continues from there. If the founder doesn't set what right looks like, I call it the guardrails around, the example that you gave around your value plays. If you do not have clarity on what the value plays, what they are and what they aren't, as you add more people into the team, whether it's 1 or whether it's 14,000, that's where everything comes off the rails, because you've not brought clarity and consistency, and you're not holding others really accountable around that. So the answer is it's both that creates either the hydration or the dehydration of the team around the values, because how you define the communication may be different from another team member that you bring them in. And if you don't have that conversation right up front of what right looks like, well, then all of a sudden those degrees of separation start to happen in pockets.
I love that you use a hydration versus dehydration analogy. Like, I am a person who is chronically dehydrated all the time. I'm so thirsty, and I drink more Yetis per day than the average bear. Using that same analogy, do you find, and this may be a leading question, but you can kind of elaborate on it. Do you find that the average founder is shocked at how often, how frequent, how often, how much they need to harp on those value creators, those key things they want to set the tone for the organization, and that it doesn't just happen? Like, you're not getting your water through osmosis. You're going to have to pound out of the hose as much as possible.
Yes, they are usually surprised. Most don't get it and don't understand the impact of it. So, if we take that analogy further, you have to become a gardener. Which means you've got to do something every day, because the culture isn't built in a day, it's built every day. So what are you cultivating every single day? And so if you're not calling out what's right, if you're not celebrating catching people in the act when they're actually living the values, you're missing those opportunities for them to define whatever right is in their own mind, in their own eyes, in their own actions. So yes, it takes a lot of work. And yes, most people do not realize just how much that cultivation act, that gardening act, is an absolute must, because the weeds will grow and the dehydration starts to set in. And here's the thing. Most leaders don't see it until it's gone into the really bad stage. So the things like the disengagement, the overt leaving of the workforce, the bad reviews, and now I can't even attract new talent inside. And so everything starts to go sideways. And so those dashboard numbers that you're looking at, if you're waiting for them to turn yellow or red, you've already missed the boat. You need to maintain them at green, establish them at green, and make sure that they stay there, because if not, dehydration can set in really quickly. And we just don't walk around. I call it, who are the Roberts? Who are the Roberts? Who are the Janes? Who are the people inside of your company that can tell you every little thing that's going on, good, bad, or indifferent? And most leaders don't go out and have those conversations to make sure that the hydration, the cultivation, and the gardening is there. The rubber meets the road with the people.
Yeah,
you can have all the missions and the visions in the world, and the words on the wall don't mean anything unless you do something about it.
I love that you're using a gardening analogy. So let's keep playing on this metaphor, the pruning process.
Yes.
So you start noticing worms in the apples. I'm trying to think where you go with this. But the reality is, I had this in my first agency. No, sorry. I had it even worse at an agency I worked at before I started my first agency. This wasn't a very big office. Like, this was like 25 people. And one or two talkers, like the people that love to like do the secret lunch meetings, and it got in and the culture shifted really fast. What is your advice? I love how you said the Roberts and the Janes. It's almost like your spotters that are in the office.
Yes.
What do you look for? Like, I have an HR meeting every day, or sorry, every week. It's almost like a level 10 from EOS.
Yep.
We have like 10 tabs that we go through. And the lagging indicator, to your point, is voluntary or involuntary churn.
Yeah.
But there's a million things that happen before we get to that moment.
Yeah.
So what are the things we should be looking for?
That's great. Great question. So a few things are, if you have people, usually when we first hire people, they're either quiet because they're watching and observing, and then they start to, kind of tune in. But most people get excited when they're first starting. And so they're interactive, they're questioning, they're engaged inside of conversations and meetings. We don't miss when they stop talking. So something happened with the psychological safety, and now all of a sudden they're in fear of bringing something up. And they're like, what does it matter? So looking at the people who used to talk and now they're quiet is surprisingly things that people miss. The Roberts of the world, it actually comes from my latest book, happens to be called Thirsty. This comes in the conversations, but it's a security guard that I'm talking about in this fable. And going to the elevator with him, and he starts talking about how it used to be around here. And so if I look at a CEO's calendar, if I look at anybody in leadership's calendar, and they're talking about their people as if it is almost a tool, and they're not really integrating in the communication, I say, let me see your calendar. What do you mean? Well, how you're spending your energy is going to be locked inside of your calendar. And if I don't see meetings with different people in your organization at different levels, that tells me you're not truly engaged with your team and you're not asking the right questions to the right people frequently enough. And so that's something that you can see immediately. The person who talks and goes quiet, the person who's always watching and observing, I call the Roberts of the world, because they see everything. And then what's inside of your manager's calendars? If it's meeting after meeting every single day and it's multiple people in the meeting and there are no one-on-ones with the team, with their counterpart, then how are you possibly stopping, wondering what's working, what's not? I frame it in, I like, I wish, I wonder. If you're not having those conversations, then how can you possibly tell me that people are your number one priority? If it's not, I can't see the evidence in your calendar. So those are a few, what you could do, what to look for, and some, signs that people are starting to look at.
So thinking of proactive action plans, I'm a founder, 50 to 500 employee business. I've felt like things, maybe we've been running it for a while, and the culture that was my original gang of misfits, and it was really like wrapped around the axle of me, has now evolved. And for some, like I've been in these kind of businesses, it felt like an old boys club, fun for the guy founder kind of thing, but it's now evolved. Yeah. And it's become more structured and polished, but then there's these factions and what do you call that? Like fiefdoms or whatever. Yeah. But it's now evolved. How do you get it to what would you say are the top 1, 2, or 3 things that you could do that are tactile that could start centering the culture in a direction you want it to shape towards?
Yeah, that's a great question. I love the coffee rounds. For those that are still in the office or they have hybrid days where most teams are in the office, where are you spending your time as a leader, as a founder, as an owner? It should be in the break room. It should be walking around. It should be popping in people's offices. That cup of coffee discussion, that lunch discussion, having those open fireside chats, impromptu.
Those collision points. You just want to keep making collisions.
Yes. And popping into department head meetings. You should be able to pop in and everything and everybody should keep talking. As soon as you walk in, everything stops. That's a signal that they don't have psychological safety, that they're not used to seeing you. They're wondering what happened. Are they in trouble because now you're here? And so those are things you need to do, but it's also a signal if you've got it and you're going right, or if a beat is missed when you're in the room, and also who's doing all the talking. If you go into a department head meeting and the department head's doing all the talking, that should make you have some questions about what's going on, because we didn't get any two-way conversations. We were just talking at people. So again, those are some signals and some things to do.
Okay, that's fantastic. As a next step, you're a plethora of knowledge when it comes to people. How do people get a hold of you? What are the best ways to learn from you?
I'm definitely all over social media. So that at Premier Rapport, you will find me. Go to the website. I've got lots of free, resources that are there. So premierrapport.com will get you to all different places and my contact information. I have a lot of content on LinkedIn as well. A lot of videos, a lot of free downloads. So that's an easy place to grab some resources too.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much for being on Outsource to Profits.